Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to O State All Day. I just wanted to stop by, and as the KU game is kind of ticking off to an end, I've got some research to do. I did want to hit on a few things, guys. So make sure that you do tune in to my Locked On Oklahoma State podcast, which I'll be doing pretty shortly. But I did want to touch base with y'all because, to be honest with you, I don't understand exactly how like the interfacing works. As in, I don't know how many of my fans I have here that are over with the Locked On show and are on Twitter and Facebook and all that fun jazz. So just to touch base, I'm at All Day O State on Twitter. At All Day O State on Twitter. It's the exact opposite. O State All Day on Facebook. O State All Day on Facebook. At All Day O State on Twitter. So guys, stop by, tune in. We've got a lot to discuss. Primarily the defense, right? There's times where we look phenomenal, and there's times we look completely out of sorts. Should we have ever, in the history of Oklahoma State University football, under Mike Gundy, gone 0-2 in the state of Kansas? This is the most talented team we've probably ever had. Like, this is the deepest D-line we've had since maybe 84, right? The linebackers do what they're supposed to do. Mason Cobb does fly around the field. Xavier Benson does fill gaps, stretch plays out. The conundrum with this one is there is no secret to what they run, right? They run a very, very advanced RPO, triple option type of team. They have a lot of eye candy. They move players all over the field. They're shifting. Their tight ends and H-backs are rotating right before plays. They have the arena football type of deals where they have the wide receiver loop around the quarterback, come back around. They do a lot of very interesting things, but it's not new. These are things that have been known. You'd have thought we'd have been prepared for this as the game starts to tick down. They're going to rush the field, as they should. Good for them. What a cool win for them in Lawrence. But again, us going 0-2 in the state of Kansas in football, come on. Like, we hardly even do that in basketball. It's a good thing. I think basketball is going to be kind of fun this year, feeding off of the Twin Towers. Picks-wise, we're doing okay, right? Looks like Georgia's going to pull one off, so that was good for our picks. Penn State won. UCF looks like they're going to hold off. Ohio State won an ugly one in Northwestern, but sometimes you got to win the ugly ones. Again, what a great win for KU. But our keys to the game were third down conversions. We gave up way too many. Guys, I'm pretty sure we gave up over 400 yards rushing. I know we did. 400 yards rushing. We knew coming into the game, because of the style of attack, they were going to have like 200-plus yards rushing. That was kind of a no. But 400 yards rushing? Like, you dig back, it's been a long time since that happened, which we'll discuss in the postgame show. But we didn't win clock management. We didn't win third down conversions. We didn't win on first and second down. I don't care who we have at quarterback. I don't care if it's Dax Garman or Wes Lunt. This performance, 2 weeks in a row of getting just ridiculously outcoached, we haven't looked like this in legitimately 15, 20 years. Easily. Like, that's not a hyperbole. That's just a factual statement. And it's a concerning statement. You remember last year when Lincoln Riley, even though they only lost like 2 games, they had a lot of talent. But you could see there at the end of the season, it just looked off. Something didn't quite look right. I've been debating, dare I say, with Nebraska fans that have the audacity to assume they could come poach Gundy away. I never thought that was a possibility. He's the king of the town. He's not going to get that anywhere else. He can make insane amounts of decisions with the assistance of President Shrum and AD Chad Weiberg. Like, he has a really good thing going in Stillwater. But something is off. His lack of preparation is concerning. I mean, there's a lot to cover. But I just, I want to highlight how amazing it is to have this amount of young kids playing. The talent is not a question. The future with the talent is not a question. The recruiting right now is a question. Like, you got to look at this. And as a recruit, unfortunately, you have to look deep and say, what in tarnation is happening in Stillwater, Oklahoma? Because this is very out of character. Very out of character. I don't care if you have to go wildcat the whole game. You should not give up 397 yards rushing. Like some of the good, like it's amazing to finally see Langston Anderson get the ball. Like everybody's been excited. I've been super excited to watch him play. So it's good to see him get the ball. I like the direction of DeAndre Jackson. I love the direction of Jade Nixon. He don't get the ball enough. Why are we so predictable? And why have we face dived? Like completely fallen straight on our nose in preparation the last 2 weeks and getting outplayed, out hustled, outmanned, outcoached. It's very uncharacteristic. There is a problem. There's something wrong in Stillwater. Something we haven't seen in, like I said, 15, 20 years. We haven't looked this bad like last week against K-State since, what was it, 2000? Is this on that level? It's close. Are we going to have locker room talks about how we just got to be okay with the fact that we're playing with a thousand injuries and nobody else is? If you watch the game, KU had almost as many people go down. It's not like they came into the game with more, right? But excuses are like what? And preparation is an issue. Why do we give up almost 400 yards rushing? I don't care if you start 12 freshmen. I don't care if KU allows you to get an extra kid on the field and you legitimately start 12 freshmen. 400 yards? That's not cool. That's not good. That's a problem. That's the definition of a problem. And what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. I don't have a problem with Garrett Rangel playing. Garrett Rangel looks very, very, very talented. He's clearly going to be a massive part of the future moving forward. But did you hear Robert Allen's explanation from Gundy's mouth on why Garrett Rangel started over Gunnar Gundy? It's because he wanted to avoid the negative narrative of his boy starting. How is that a reasonable thing to say? Like, just come out and say, hey, we're going to play the best player. Even though my decision making about picking the right quarterbacks has been horrendous over time, why don't you just say we're going to play the best player? And Gunnar Gundy is X, Y, and Z, but Garrett gives us the best position to win because of X, Y, and Z, not because you want to avoid a negative narrative. This is the thought process I want to break into. And, you don't want to alienate anybody for any reason. But at the same time, I think that it's, again, irresponsible as us as a fan base to bury our head in the sand and act like there's not issues that are somewhat predictable. If we're this predictable on a consistent basis, like there's a problem. I love a lot of things about what we're doing. The family atmosphere, the way we don't change a whole heck of a lot. But adaptation and the ability to again, just overcome, adapt and overcome. It's not there. So what is the problem? Do we have people looking in other directions? Do we have some issues in the locker room? Is there a split? Do some people think Gunnar deserves to get the start? I did. I would have had Gunnar start and being on a short leash, of course. Right? First pick gone. But you give Garrett Rangel four opportunities to throw picks. He almost threw 6 or 7. Not that Spencer doesn't have misses that were close to. Yeah, I get that. But it's not the fact that Garrett Rangel played or started. It's the decision-making process and the justification behind it. Just like his justification for Spencer Sanders playing at K-State when clearly he's been banged up. Right? If you've been following along, the inside scoop is letting you know that Gunner's been taking the bulk of the snaps. So if Gunnar Gundy's been taking the bulk of the snaps for 3-4 weeks now, how do you justify not starting him and at least giving him that opportunity? Let him shake. Let him hand the ball off 6 times in a row. Let him throw a pick. Because the outcome of this game is what? It's demoralization. of maybe not the team, maybe not the locker room, but something's off, something's wrong. Something in the coaching staff's not clicking on all cylinders. This looks like last year's basketball squad. The difference is we were playing for something major. And this level of nosediving cannot be all on injuries. It cannot all be on lack of preparation. It cannot all be on changing of the practice schedule or habits. This cannot all be on talent. Something is missing. You can see between the layers, just like you could see last year, between the layers with Lincoln Riley. Like, you don't want to speak negativity into existence, so I'm not going to. And I'm not of the camp that Gundy should go. I'm of the camp that Gundy should be realistic about changes. Don't call things or coach things or do things for the wrong reasons. Because to me, it sets the wrong precedents. And if you set the wrong precedents, what does that do to the locker room? Like, again, all speculation. But let's just pretend that a chunk of the roster knew that Spencer was far too banged up to play in K-State. And could it be potentially possible that some of the team is like, well, it almost looks like our coach is, dare I say, cashing it in? So is there a dip in effort? I think this is a question more than a statement. But nonetheless, it's fair. It's reasonable. We're not doing a lot right now. There's not a lot of positives other than the youth. But to me, this is concerning. This was supposed to be a pretty good year. We were supposed to contend till the very, very, very end for the Big 12 title. 3 losses right now is a disappointment. I don't think it's fair to the players to say anything other than that. I don't think it's fair to the recruiting department to indicate that we just weren't ready or we weren't able. Because that's not the case. So we weren't ready. No, that is the case. But ability's not. Talent's not. Depth's not. So what is it? Obviously, we'll break down the film stuff tomorrow before we jump into the next week of preparation Tuesday. But again, I think the issues are a carryover. And again, I'm asking us to all maybe internally be honest and just wonder if it's fair to ask if we have internal issues we have possibly not had inside Boone Pickens Stadium for years and years and years. Right? Or am I wrong? And if I'm wrong, feel free to jump in the comment section and give me your opinion. Otherwise, we're going to break down a little bit more here on the Locked On Oklahoma State postgame show. So stay tuned for that. I will be putting it out in the next couple hours. I'm going to make it immediately after this. So stop by for that show. We'll dive into more of some of the statistical issues and some of the post-game interviews and things of that nature and what we can look forward to and what we need to focus on. All right, guys. I love you all. God bless. Go Pokes. I'll see you all here in a few on the Locked On Oklahoma State podcast show.